Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stuttering in Silence. My name is Matthew, and this is
Gavin.
And we're back, better than ever. We had some personal stuff going on in our lives with some people that we love, but without getting too much into it, we're going to continue on with what we usually do. We're doing mental disorders. Following up, I think we have 1 week left.
This is the last week.
This is the last week. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that today, finish it up. We're going to finish strong. And as always, Gavin, take us away.
All right. So, couldn't have said it better myself. I feel like we were saying that before. I feel like I haven't been here in a year.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks.
Well, I told you, that's how I felt when I came down here. I looked, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the water bottle we were using and all of this other stuff.
Yeah, literally. No, that's what I mean. Like, it's funny because it's like all of a sudden, it's like it feels normal, but then also at the same time it doesn't. Like, it feels I'm out of sorts a little bit. So, excuse me if I'm a little scatterbrained, but my disorder today I'm going to be talking about is something that I saw it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to save this for the last week. And once I say it, you'll understand why. It's clinical lycanthropy.
What?
Clinical lycanthropy, not to be confused with werewolf syndrome or otherkin, is a rare psychiatric syndrome that involves a delusion that the affected person can transform into, has transformed into, or is a non-human animal. Its name is associated with the mythical condition of lycanthropy, a supernatural affliction in which humans are said to physically shapeshift into wolves. The term is used by researchers mostly in the broader sense of transformation into animals in general, that, strictly speaking, is described as zoanthropy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that one, as you can probably understand now, but it's the illusion that you can or have turned into a werewolf, and
I am aware.
Wolf.
Good.
But no, so what's funny about this actually is the reason why I wanted to save it for last, not just because I have an affliction for, I don't know. I have I'm curious about the mythology behind werewolves and how they got started and that kind of thing. Dogman, that we talked about years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny actually is we could do another one about Dogmen in the future because, it's a good idea, right? Because the last time that we talked about it was when around the same time we did the Smile podcast. Yeah. And so now that the second one's out, the Smile 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's pretty interesting stuff. So, anyway, jumping into some signs and symptoms here. It says the affected individuals believe that they are in the process of transforming into an animal or have already transformed into an animal. Clinical lycanthropy has been associated with the altered states of mind that accompany psychosis, the mental state that typically involves delusions and hallucinations, and with the transformation only seeming to happen in the mind and behavior of the affected person. A 1988 study on clinical lycanthropy from the McLean Hospital reported on a series of cases and proposed some diagnostic criteria by which clinical lycanthropy could be recognized. Being a patient reports in a moment of lucidity or reminiscence that they sometimes feel as an animal or have felt like one, and a patient behaves in a manner that resembles animal behavior, for example, howling, growling, or crawling.
Interesting.
According to these criteria, either a delusional belief in current or past transformation or behavior that suggests a person thinks of themselves as transformed and is considered evidence of clinical lycanthropy. So, it doesn't. What I found interesting about this was that you don't have to, or like you in your mind, you think you are a werewolf, or you transform into a beast or an animal of some kind.
Really?
Yeah, like it's all in your mind. Obviously, you're not actually transforming. Who knows? I don't know. I don't have all the facts, but who knows? These people could be actual werewolves, and it could be something where maybe Hollywood embellished, but people actually are. Who knows? I don't know. But no, in terms of this, it's actually kind of it's to me it's scary because you can it just once again goes. I know I touched on this the last week, but it goes to show how strong your mind is.
Yeah.
You know, because
yeah, for sure.
it's not like these people are like, I really like werewolves, I'm going to be one. It's they were genuinely like going through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, some treatments that can be that can help clinical lycanthropy. Pretty much the same stuff as other mental delusion or
Sure.
disorders is, you know, medication, therapy, support groups, and things along those lines can really help. Which, like I said, seems to be a theme for every one of these. And then the thing that it says here is because clinical lycanthropy is strongly associated with psychotic disorders, and antipsychotic medication is often effective treatment. It may also be treated with the antidepressants or mood stabilizers in cases in which it is a symptom of depression or bipolar disorder.
That's interesting because I know with a lot of those like SSRIs that people have, like finger. A lot of these symptoms and stuff that we've talked about has the same situations where like it is a form of depression or people's minds are going crazy or like antipsychotics. So I think it's kind of interesting where your brain can go haywire, and as it's all happening, it's like, oh look, I can go and I can pretend I'm a werewolf, but then some pill can come in and like rearrange your brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the case for anything. And speaking as, because I don't know when you got your surgery, how much, like how strong of stuff they put you on. But when I got my surgery, they put me on some pretty strong medication. And it really did change me. You know, It changed how I reacted to things, how I interacted with friends or with anything, you know, really just me being awake wasn't really me being awake. It was just existing, you know. So for somebody that is going through something similar to this, I don't even want to know the type of strong medication that they have to be on, you know.
That's scary, dude. Makes you almost scared to have kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, you run the risk of them having some kind of thing. But funnily enough, was something that I did see on TikTok of all places, actually. So yeah, so it's something that I never really thought about before, but because I know anybody can slip into like a depressive state or a state of mind or being, but I didn't realize you could actually be, depending on like your cultural or like the way that your society is interacting, where you're born, where you grew up, who you interact with, you can actually fall like under a mental disorder.
Really?
Over time. Like you can evolve into having one.
That I think I've heard about. I don't know if I know or I've read anything about it, but I think I definitely have seen it either on videos or like in pop culture.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too is it's just like I guess I probably did learn about it or hear about it before, but it just kind of struck me as like, oh yeah, as where, you know, I always hear about something like this where it's like you're diagnosed at a young age, you were showing signs early on, yada yada. And you never really think about it. Somebody being quote unquote normal or whatever your version of normal is, and then being able to unfortunately evolve into having something like this to deal with every day. You know,
I don't know, having the forethought to be like, dude, I'm a werewolf now, and then your brain, it's almost the same thing as you were saying with mutism. It's not allowing them. They're not allowing themselves to talk. The brain just saying no, be quiet.
Yeah.
And your brain is telling you, hey, you're a werewolf.
Well, that's what makes it scary is for these people. It's not like one day they're like, you know what, I'm a werewolf. It's almost like it's like the delusion, like they literally think that this is happening to them, and whether they want it to or and they don't. You know what I mean? Like imagine if literally you woke up and for as far as you were aware, you were turning into a werewolf, like you were turning into a wolf of some kind.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah.
So for these people, it's scary. It's not something that they can really control. And
Yeah, I guess for a little part of my brain was like, hey, dude, it's like these kids who are like furries at first, but now like think about it, like these people are like really thinking they're turning into like some like demonic monster from the movies, and they're gonna turn into a werewolf. And they're gonna eat their friends, they're gonna eat their family, they're gonna do all these things, and I think yeah, that would be terrifying to wake up and like you look in the mirror and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm now aware. Wolf.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, and then. And it's not something that, and there is a lot of studies about it. It's a very curious a disorder for doctors and psychiatrists to try to figure out,
Yeah.
because due to, I would say, I guess Hollywood or whatever you want to call it, like the spotlight that's been on it, it's not taken as seriously, I guess, as it could be or should be, and especially as you said, like though that that limelight of somebody being a furry or something, like,
Yeah.
I can see where the lines would get crossed,
Sure.
and how it could be taken less seriously than it should be. But like I said, this actually, something that I found out today, literally, was, I didn't know it was this old. But the first case of clinical lycanthropy was reported in 1852. But the concept of lycanthropy as a medical condition dates back to the 7th century.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew the mythology behind it was old, like the lore was old as hell, but I didn't realize it was 7th century old.
Yeah, that's wild.
It says the first case report of clinical lycanthropy was published in 1852 and described a man who believed he had turned into a wolf.
Oh.
So,
Huh.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine waking up, looking in the mirror, like you're brushing your teeth,
Yeah.
doing your hair, and it's like you look at yourself and you're like, that's me, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Only if you knew what I was doing. And you're like, that's me. And then all of a sudden you look down, you brush your teeth, you spit in the sink, you look up, and now you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like that, like, I don't know, that to me freaks me out. 'Cause it's also like, do they look down at their arm and they go, hey, that's hair? Do they look at their friend and they go, I'm going to eat them?
Well, I think it's a little more complex than that. Like, I think it's more of like, imagine...
Dragons.
Yeah. Imagine, like, once again, I want to preface, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't have any degree to say that can give any expert opinion on this. But from the stuff that I've been reading and stuff that I already just kind of like knew from other stuff that I've seen and heard about and read about, imagine you were at work and you burn your hand on the stove, and then you run to the sink and you're holding your hand under the stove, and then somebody's like, what did you do? You're like, oh, I burned my hand. And you were the only person that knows, quote unquote, you burned your hand, because to everybody else, they just saw you standing there on your phone, and then all of a sudden you're like, ow, I burned my hand. That'd be like the best way, I guess.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a terrifying thing to, and I'm sure the cases that you see, people are making it up or something, or whatever.
For sure.
Especially after Hollywood ran with it and whatever. But no, this is something that people are living with, and like I said, it's terrifying, because imagine thinking you're turned into a 10-foot or 7-foot tall werewolf, and you can genuinely like imagine if I was genuinely afraid that I was going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. That would freak me out. Because if I had that condition and I was like, I'm gonna see Gavin in a little bit, I'm gonna eat him. I wouldn't see you. I'd be like, I don't want to hurt him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Damn, dude. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I said, I feel like it doesn't get enough light, like actual truth given to it, because I feel like people hear about it and like, okay, and then
I have to shine some. I'm glad you shined some moon light on that topic. Otherwise, could lose it on all of that fur. But we're now aware that other people can think of themselves as wolves. Keep them on their hind legs. you know,
Wow.
I'm thinking. Can you see the wheels turning?
I can see the wheels turning. I don't know if they're going anywhere, but they're turning all right. Anyway. Anywho's. Yeah, that's pretty much the basics of clinical lycanthropy. It's pretty much the main points. There's other thing that I wanted to touch on before I kick it over to you is under the neurological factors. It says one important factor may be differences or changes in parts of the brain known to be involved in representing body shape.
Oh.
A neuroimaging study of 2 people diagnosed with clinical lycanthropy showed that these areas display unusual activation, suggesting that when people report their bodies are changing shape, they may be genuinely perceiving those feelings. So I read that, and the reason I wanted to touch on that was because I imagine that when they're going through that, like that transformation, I wonder if they really feel like their bones are breaking and shifting. And
well, that's what I'm saying is like you look down and you look up and you are watching yourself like shift into a werewolf. You know what I'm saying, or shift into like some form of like an outdoor being.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that would freak me out. And then if you're seeing yourself turn into that wolf. What do wolves do? They eat things. They're carnivores. They kill things.
Yeah.
My best friend Gavin's coming over. I don't want to kill him.
Right.
So.
Well, I wonder if it would be something like, you get the adrenaline spike and like your mom can pick up a minivan to save her kid, and you don't feel pain when you're in like battle and stuff. I wonder if when they're going through that, I wonder if that would change their physical ability. Like if they become stronger, be able to jump higher, or run faster, or something. I don't know. It's just something that I thought about.
Huh. Damn.
Yeah, man.
I might need to do some more research on this. I like this one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, especially when you start to unravel it, and there's a lot to dive into about it.
Yeah.
So.
The fur on the back of my neck is standing up.
Oh, well. All right, but that's enough for clinical lycanthropy. I'm definitely going to be doing more research around it because I find it to be very fun and enjoyable to read about. So
now you're aware.
Well,
oh. All right. I don't know if this one's not going to be as cool as that one.
No.
I really like that. Now I kind of want to like deep dive. Those are one of those things. Those are one of those topics that like I see on TikTok, and then I opened the rabbit hole app, aka YouTube.
Yeah.
And that is what I do at 3 a.m. Yep. And then I am now an expert on it.
Oh yeah, you can talk to anybody about it.
But anyways, this one is called the conduct disorder. It stems off a couple different ones of like ADHD. But one of those things where you see a lot in like kids. But excuse me, we eat a lot of sushi.
Yeah.
Conduct disorder is a mental health condition that affects children and teens. People with this condition persistently display several antisocial and aggressive behaviors. They may bully others, abuse small animals, lie, steal, drink alcohol, use drugs, skip school, often before their teenage years.
Really?
So, yeah. So that you see it a lot in younger kids. Same thing with that, like that whole mute thing and all those things. It's like a precursor to rough life.
Gotcha.
Who does this conduct disorder affect? Gavin, I'm so proud of you. You guessed it. The conduct disorder affects children, adolescents. Could be an early onset, as in like 10 years old. Commonly develops in adolescents between the ages of 10 and to 19 years old. This condition is more common in children assigned male at birth than children assigned female at birth. AFAB or AMAB. Mm-hmm. Assigned male at birth, female. Yeah. Some of the symptoms
Figured it out on the fly.
Figured it out on the fly. Going to jail. 4 core behaviors of conduct disorder include aggression towards other people, animals, or violating others' basic rights, destruction of property, deceiving, stealing, lying, serious violation of rules, signs of like they get in trouble at school, or they steal from a grocery store and they get like probation as a child, or like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bullying, physical violence. What's interesting is this says potentially with a weapon. Could you imagine a 10-year-old run up to you with like a bat?
Nah, dude.
And he really wants to just beat the shit out of you.
So is this like? I'm sure you're gonna finish here, but is this different than like the signs that would be like the precursor to like becoming a psycho?
So it's all kind of in the same regards. Like
okay.
a lot of these, because you see these in kids that like act out. Like I'm sure you had those kids in school.
Mm-hmm.
They're smoking. They're doing drugs. You're like 15, 16. They're like the edgy kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like these kids are the ones that are like the cops are coming to the school. They're actually like beating the crap out of these kids. They're selling drugs. They have guns. You know the you know what I'm saying? Like those.
Yeah.
We've all had those kids around. But this is just kind of like what tailors into like a psychopath. People who just do terrible things become not so great members of society. And that's why it's really important to like pull these people out of them, these kids, because they are kids at the end of the day. I had a runner come back the other day, and she's like 18, 19, but like she's literally, I tell her all the time, like, you were always going to be a child in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like they're all just kids. They're just so young. They're children.
But at us at 18 or 19, we were like, we're adults now.
Well, yeah, and they don't realize that. And I told the one girl, she's like, yeah, but I'm in college now, and I'm like, I don't care. You will always be 12. Like I told my one runner the other day, I'm like, I could see you in 20 years and you can be married and have kids, and I'm just still gonna see this little child.
Well, what's funny about perspective about that is literally like I remember being in like high school or middle school and being like, oh my god, college kids they're adults, they're so old. And now, literally, I'm not old by any real stretch of the imagination, but I saw, like, you see college kids or something, like, freshman or sophomore or something like that. I'm like, damn, you're young. You know what I mean?
Children.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember the same thing. I'm like, oh, dude. I remember when I was in elementary school. I was in, like, first grade, second grade. I'm like, oh, my gosh. The fourth graders.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was.
They're so big.
We went from, it was kindergarten through fourth, and then you go to middle school, yada, yada. But to the fourth graders, I'm like, oh my gosh, you got everyone, act cool. Act cool. The fourth graders are in the hallway.
Walk straighter in the line. God, come on, Amelia. Get your shit together.
Facts. Then, like, high school came, and I'm like, little freshman, and, oh my gosh, that's senior Donovan McNabb. Everyone calm down.
Amelia, get your shit together.
Know the drill.
Just 8 years of this.
Dude, my face is red. Signs of the destruction of property include intentionally setting things on fire, vandalizing or destroying others' property. Signs of deceiving is like lying to avoid responsibility, stealing from individuals. Signs of violation for the rules, like breaking the rules without clear reason, not going to school, truancy, running away from home. We've all heard and seen.
Yeah.
We all go on Facebook every once in a while, and that's like, oh my god, it's so sad.
Yeah.
This one is kind of wild. So, it's like common signs of this conduct disorder include heavy alcohol drinking or heavy substance abuse. So, it's not like when you and I were kids and we're like younger and we're going to a party. We're so cool. Amelia, shut up.
Amelia.
But it's not like that. It's like every day they're drinking and they're doing drugs, or they're at that age smoking weed or doing crack cocaine, like things like that. Like,
Well, would cigarettes be?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I did when I was early on in high school and even in like late middle school, there were people that I knew, like especially like in 8th grade, where you see like you're walking home or something, and then you see that one kid that's in like whatever, and they're like smoking a cigarette, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, don't be a whatever. And you're like, dude. And then you get to high school, and that the same kid's now smoking like a pack a week. Just reeking of cigarettes. They smoke one at the bus stop before school, and you're like, brother.
You're in 8th grade.
What are we doing?
But that's just how it is for these guys.
I wonder if that would be like, I did know of one person specifically that biblically crashed out. That had all the precursors, not all the precursors, but had a lot of the precursors you were saying.
Biblically crashed out?
Oh, yeah. Don't want to get too deep into it, but.
Oh, heard. Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you later.
I Amber heard that shit.
Oh, shit. Don't want to get too Johnny Depp deep.
Some of the other things too, common signs of the conduct. I said we were drinking alcohol heavily, engaging in frequent and risky sex, which is kind of weird because we're talking about children. So I don't know, like if who's watching these kids do these things. Making no effort to hide their aggressive behaviors, not showing remorse for their actions. Difficulty making and maintaining friendships. It's important to note that the occasional rebellious behavior is common during childhood and adolescence. The signs and symptoms that lead to this diagnosis of conduct behavior demonstrate a disruptive and repetitive pattern.
Gotcha.
Hence why I mentioned that when you and I were, doing our stupid high school thing, that we're not bad kids. We're kids. We don't understand but it's like, okay, you have a crazy Friday night, you still go to school, like you wouldn't just outwardly go and like flip off your friend, because that would really not be a nice thing to do. Hey, you're not supposed to do that.
Sorry.
Are you censoring yourself? Censoring live, dude. You don't have to edit that. The go-to treatment for the conduct disorder, CD, but not the one that goes into a CD player, is multiple forms of psychotherapy, talk therapy for your child and his family as a community-based treatment. Therapies include parent management training. The goal of this is to train the child's parents to set consistent discipline with proper rewarding for positive behavior. Psychotherapy is a term for a variety of treatment techniques that aim to help a person's identity and change the troubling emotions throughout their behaviors. It just works with their mental health, and it kind of allows them to kind of create support systems for their own, and how to kind of like recognize what's going on and like change it in the moment.
Gotcha.
It helps with their family dynamics. Anger management training. The goal of the anger management is to reduce both your child's emotional feelings and the psychological arousal of anger causes. You can't get rid of all this anger totally, but it helps avoid that and kind of teaches them like, hey, like you are about to crash out. Yeah. In other terms, so here's a good way to like not do that. Helps helps bring back up that negative decline. But it also in that treatment too, it also helps them learn how to like build better relationships with people and like build a community of your own.
Right.
Community-based treatments. This treatment involves therapeutic schools and residential treatment centers that can provide a structured program to reduce disruptive behaviors. However, I will say this from looking on this up and doing some just very superficial research on it, on these schools. A lot of these don't always help, because now you're putting them in a situation where they are taken away from our population and put them with children that have the same situations. So if there's proper treatment and proper counseling and proper people that are there, it'll help, but it doesn't always work out that way. Healthcare providers don't typically use medication to directly treat the conduct disorder, but as mental health conditions often occur alongside mental health conditions. Wait, did I read that sentence twice? Your child may benefit from medication to manage these conditions. However, I will say this, from someone who personally had to go through a lot of this stuff. I mean, I was a pretty good student and stuff like that, but with things that were going on at home, I was a very angry child, and I was court mandated to see a therapist.
Nice.
Family therapist. And
what do you think, you're alone in that or something? Think you're special? You're not. You're nothing. You're a speck of dust on the wings of my bronze eagle, which is life.
Damn, dude. I try to do the Am I doing it right?
No. I mean, I don't know.
Wait,
Maybe.
say bronze eagle again.
Bronze eagle.
Okay, one more time. One more time, please, please.
Bronze eagle.
I'm dying. Ugh.
Jesus, dude.
It's not my fault. It's the community-based treatment we're having right now. This isn't funny. It's a serious topic. Stop laughing. Be good. If you look back on this in like 30 years, even if we get like really famous from this, like, I mean, I have to tell my kids I yelled at myself on air.
Yeah. I yelled at myself, little Jimmy. What do you think I'll do to you?
Oh my god. But yeah, so there are a lot of ways to kind of help yourself with through this, and a lot of ways that the community itself. I know a lot of schools structure this into their programming to help children who have these. Because when you're younger, it's gonna sound weird. They'll watch like the children,
Yeah.
and they'll pick up the kids who might need like an IEP or having a rough time at home. Because a lot of times, like, they'll ask you in the beginning of the year, tell me about yourself, tell me what's going on at home, and sometimes you just get the kids that'll be like, oh, my mom and dad are getting a divorce, my dad's beating my mom, you know what I'm saying, and things like that, so they know how to adjust it. Don't be afraid to reach out to teachers, because they see your kid a lot more than you will,
Right.
a lot of the time too. So if something's going on at home, maybe they can do something at the school to help you out. But never stay silent. See something, say something. See something, say something.
Interesting. No place for hate.
No place for hate. But some notable people to mention is Charlie Sheen.
You don't say.
The ultimate crash out king.
Guy's got tiger blood running through his veins.
And Mel Gibson.
Aha.
Those are just a couple of people that I saw. There was a bunch of other ones, but these are the two people that I thought a lot of people, especially you, would be like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense.
Yeah.
But touching on you said with the teachers, like if they see your kids more than you most of the time. In terms of that, I actually was listening to, funnily enough, once again on TikTok. It was a teacher, and she was younger, probably closer to our age than not, and she was talking about how children that are chronically online at very young ages tend to show more factors of being like socially awkward, the quintessential loner, a little harder for them to grasp things. They struggle a little bit more in school, and it actually changes. Obviously, we already know being online like that changes the way your brain works, and it changes your dopamine receptors, and it changes the way just how it speeds up your internal clock for it messes with your like the joke now is that everybody has no patience. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there.
You weren't very patient with yourself, were
Well,
you?
it was not. But yeah, like, so anyway, my thought process behind it was like, I wonder what it's doing to kids now. Like, I wonder how many kids now are like showing these signs mainly, or with like how much of like the internet access turns kids into starting to show these signs. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I guess I worry a lot because if you think about it, dude, like in one moment, these kids could their entire life could change. Because if they're they're destroying property.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way, like these kids vandalize the wrong house, steal the wrong thing, break the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, and then they might, if you're like 16, 17, they might charge you as an adult for that.
Exactly. And there is something to be said about, boys will be boys, kids will be kids. Let the kids figure it out as they go. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall along the way, things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily what would be. Well, you dealt with kids when you were at the Y and stuff. So like, was there any time that you like a kid, you saw kids or somebody was doing something, you were like, you know what? Let me keep a sharper eye on that one.
Well, yeah, you had to, because if you didn't, dude, like you would end up in a position where the kid would just run rampant and then would realize that they can just walk all over you.
Gotcha.
We've had kids. I could tell you a couple stories. Even just superficially, you're just like, dude, I feel for you. You know, and constantly in trouble, constantly doing things, and with those kids, you kind of just have to look at them and just be like, it sounds stupid, but like him and I got along really well towards the end of the summer. But I'm just like, dude, like, why? Why would you do that? Do you know how that makes me feel now? What I have to do, and instead of yelling at them, you kind of have to like try to instill like remorse in their body.
Gotcha.
And that was the fastest way that kid and I like kind of bonded. Like, I would get called over to help out if he was there.
Really?
Yeah, because like if he wasn't in my group, whatever it was that day, they'd be like, "Hey, Matt, can you come talk to insert name here?" And I'd be like, "Dude, I had to come all the way over here."
Yeah.
I lied. I'd be like, I was eating lunch. Like, come on, look at me. I need the food.
Yeah. Well, I feel like also because that it changes it from a dynamic of like you no longer have this to like when a kid gets in trouble, it's like you can't play with your phone. You have to sit in the corner. You can't play at recess. You can't. It like automatically deters. You know what I mean? Like that takes something from them, and then hopefully they're like, oh, well, I really like to play at recess, so I'm not going to do that again.
Exactly.
But I feel like the way you were doing it, which I also have seen and have done, it's like you're giving it a more real world impact than just you don't have a phone anymore. It's like, dude, now I got to come over here and talk to you, and how do you think that makes me feel? And then hopefully what the gain from that would be like, oh yeah, I was being a dick. Let me not do that anymore.
And sometimes they're used to the real world, and when you just hit them with a little bit of truth, you know. But yeah, dude, it's fucked up, man. And I just hope a lot of those kids that are having those issues, find help and people are able to recognize that. And hopefully people don't see themselves as werewolves. So.
That's true. That would hopefully they don't see themselves as werewolves and then develop those things happening.
Did you imagine if you had both those conditions?
I do wonder if like having something could evolve into having other things. It probably will. It probably could.
I was about to make a bad joke, but that wouldn't be in lieu of everything. Probably not good.
Probably not good.
Probably not good.
Got to be good.
Damn, dude. I'm now aware of all this stuff.
Okay.
All right, wrapping it up. Bye.